and we're going to watch another NASCAR crash reaction compilation. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get this party started. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Busch Series qualifying live on Speed Channel right now. The man on the provisional pole is Kenny Wallace. There's two games that we played during qualifying. One is to go fast, and now you're going to play the second game and crash on the racetrack.
Oh, hello! God, that car's
close. The Busch North Series in his Mohegan Sun Chevrolet number 40. Got it hard into turn 3. And it came around, snapped around, caught the back end up between 3 and 4.
Wow, that car's gone.
For the title.
There's nothing left of it.
Didn't
back end's gone, front end's crushed like a pop can.
And let's see what happened down in turn 3. Matt's got the winner net down. He's going to climb out.
All right, let's see this. Going around, and he gets loose and bang! Ooh!
In the actual racetrack, and it shot it up the racetrack, got it loose.
So that's exactly what you do. When you get that left front down on that apron like you do, it basically unloads the car, and the car just basically snaps around. I mean, there's no way to recover from that.
He got way too low, and bye-bye.
But you're right, he knew he was go or go home. He had to stand on it. Of course, you're trying quite a bit harder than you would have practiced, and this is the results.
And you get down to the left front on that flat, and it's just like jacking up that corner of the car, and the other 3 tires instantly break traction.
And we'll bring you up to date on the drivers who didn't have the speed to make it in first round qualifying at Bristol. Irwin brushed the wall forward to take the green flag. He wound up 43rd at 121.205 miles an hour in qualifying.
But first, Ricky Craven crashed during practice Thursday morning at the Texas Motor Speedway. Craven was conscious and alert when he was taken to Parkland Memorial Hospital. Doctors say he has a small area of contusion deep inside his brain. That concerns them the most. Craven also suffered a broken right scapula. He is listed in serious but stable condition.
For a couple of drivers, though, it'll be their first practice session prior to following an incident that occurred on Monday morning. Monday morning, shortly after 10 o'clock in the morning, Greg Sack over to 27. Turn 3 and 4.
Anybody want a NASCAR stock car sandwich? Ooh, that thing's turning into a very hot weenie car. Wow. Get out of that car, son. Move it.
And it is the only practice they will get.
Start with, so I said, second round, we just leave it and try it again. And it just got away from me, and I couldn't catch it, and I got in the fence and killed it. So, like I said, I thought that was a really good car. We'd run it one time before and ran good with it, so I was anxious to run it. Too anxious, I guess. Barbara Ann...
Shauna Robinson!
Barbara Ann, that was a song. That was a song, wasn't it?
And I saw going. The back end got loose and she hit the wall.
That is not a problem. That's not? No, that looks like a problem. That's a Darlington strut. Well, I don't know. It might be a little bit of a problem. Is that your favorite saying there? She pancaked it? Got it somewhere between a waffle and a pancake. Yeah.
Pancake!
Morgenthau is the... Yeah, I know
You had one name right.
I never, no disrespect to Beth Ann. I just...
So we figured that out. He's hoping he's ready.
It's gonna move! And there it goes! Oh!
Hard into the wall. Now and he was second quickest on the first lap, DW.
Boy, that thing just jumped around, and I was... As I noticed, you always second guess people. I almost thought, man, with a good lap like that, I didn't know if he could pick up. Look at it.
It knocked one of the rear springs out of the car.
He knocked it down, buddy.
Springs like
that was a good lap, that first one, 22.67. Not near as quick as Ryan, but as you say, it'd be second quickest.
Does that send you a message right there about how hard those walls are here?
Yeah.
Holy cow, look at that. It's broken off to the the back of the seat.
Coming off his best finish of the year at Lowe's Motor Speedway, where he was second. There he said he was second quick on his first lap.
Same area that Greg Biffle got in trouble right there, turn 2.
And Darrell, I mentioned to you during the commercial break, it looks like here that there's no saving the race car. When that back end starts to come, there's nothing you can do as a driver. Is that correct?
Yeah, what makes you fast here is that you're able to get back in the throttle wide open way before the center of the turn. There he goes. He just down in there. The same thing, just like Biffle. He gets up out of the groove a little bit. You're trying to crank it down. You pull the thing to the left. The more you pull it, looser it gets. and there's no saving it right there. She is
Boom!
gone, baby.
Oh,
Same
God!
exact spot where Biffle lost it. I would say that has all the makings of a hot spot.
It does. Into the corner and bang! Oh, my God. And that thing
Come on, boys,
just
let's
blew
get talking
up.
about
Yeah,
this.
maybe a video to support it.
Shit.
And in Slugger Labby's defense, his crew chief, he told Michael in response to that, he said, I didn't see the time quick enough to tell you.
Right.
Oh, my God. That just sounded horrific. Oh,
Gut-wrenching sound.
fuck.
52nd into Winston.
Oh, Dale Jarrett. I remember this car.
There in the first 2 or 3.
All right, we got
Rob told me
DJ.
they had a very tough decision early in the week about that.
Oh, with the nene! Oh!
That is something you do not want to see, folks.
He looked like he had a good lap going until it just come around over in turn 3 and 4.
He's moving around a little bit, so
You can see the chassis broken, dude.
This was a brand new race car, tested a few weeks ago.
on the radio, Dale Jarrett said the car bottomed out. It could have. We've seen that over and over and over again. Like I said, it's so distracting to the driver when it does.
This is going down into turn 3 right here. We'll look close, see if we see any sparks. Right to the bottom of the racetrack.
Looks good right there. Looks like she just starts getting loose on him right in the middle of the corner right there. Drove it in hard and just...
That was a hard lick.
It really was.
God damn!
And already, Robert Yates' crew scrambling to unload the backup car. If it bottomed out, and you know, we don't see the sparks, but that doesn't mean it didn't bottom out over on the right rear over there somewhere. But the car looks good right here. It's just down there. He catches the bottom of the left front wheel down on the white line. Looks like when he goes back to wide open throttle, it just starts to come out from under him. The back end starts to come around. Oh. Look at it one more time and see if we can watch the car go down into the corner. He's out, and I'm sure he's very disappointed. Fortunately, he's okay, because, folks, when you're qualifying, you're at maximum speed. That means you're going to hit that wall as hard as you can hit. You're going to hit it at any time.
And it's pretty much a given. He will start 37th, which
Let's see
will be
if
the
we can
first
see something right here, Larry. We can see from the back of the car. Again, he's down in there. I just, you know, if it bottomed out, I don't see it.
Well, we've seen cars bottom out a lot worse.
Yeah.
Not have a problem.
Is it possible the car could have bottomed on the suspension without the undercarriage hitting the racetrack?
Oh, anything's possible.
Okay.
You just got to go by what he said and what he felt, and he felt something happened to the car.
Dale Jarrett had 3 straight top 10 starts in Charlotte. Not this week.
This was about 1 hour ago in the first of today's 2 practice sessions in race conditions.
Check the very right side of your screen. Ever see the cars getting ready to go back out?
BP?
What?
You know what? Sometimes when you're out there racing and something breaks that you're not expecting it to, we've just rolled into the garage with our replay machine.
It broke.
It broke. We'll show you what happened a moment ago. Trust me, though, Jeff Gordon hit the wall in the first of today's 2 practice sessions. They've had to pull the backup car out. Let's find out what happened to Jeff Gordon. Here's Dashing Dave Burns.
Well, we'll ask him for just a little more detailed description then, since we haven't seen it yet, although I'm sure we will very soon. Jeff, what happened with your car today?
You know, we've had kind of a crazy day. This is the second wreck of the day. I wrecked on a golf cart earlier today, and I think I'm actually hurting more from that than I am this wreck. It's silly, really. Just had the throttle just hang on there's a little floorboard there, and it hung on it, not full wide open, just enough to where it carried me in the corner too far, and I locked the wheel and front tires down. They just carried me in the wall, so unfortunately got to get the backup car out. Bugs, not been real good here in Richmond, so I'm the only thing left at Bugs Bunny, and we'll see what we can do with our DuPont Chevrolet with the flames on it.
That's right. They're not going to change the decals on that car, but they have pulled a lot of the components off of that primary car and put them on this backup car, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, this is a brand new car. We feel pretty good about it.
Here at Talladega, finishes of 3rd and 6th in his last 2 races here. Oh, trouble!
Oh, no!
John Andretti's into it. Rusty Wallace.
Wow, that's a goddamn mess.
Buckshot.
Wow!
And Jeff Gordon drives by on the outside.
Flew up the racetrack. We're wrecked up pretty good.
Gordon was running by himself, well back from the pack, probably just for that reason. Championship leader didn't want to take a chance on bending up his car in final practice. He was not in the big pack of cars. Kurt Busch is in it, and the red flag is out.
Wow.
That sucks.
And the radio traffic you heard was from Rusty Wallace's car, who said that Kurt Busch nicked the apron with his car and came back up across the track. There's John Andretti's car. Let's take a look.
And the 22 is actually up on the apron and hit the 51 car.
And from there it was on.
Yeah, well, once you're in a situation like this, you're just trying to look for a hole.
And Kurt was just trying to get stopped behind it.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Watch the 22 car as he jumps down on the apron. What happens when you get on that apron? Actually, well, he may have gone down on that apron because the 51 car was maybe coming down on him. It's hard to say by that angle, but
Robert Preston, the 77 car, somehow gets through. I mean, he just missed the front, and Buckshot just missed the back of the 77 as he was spinning.
PP, see if it looks like you.
Ward's trying to run up inside of him. And Purvis comes right down to that yellow line. So they both wanted the same place on the racetrack.
Yep. And John Andretti, hard lick to the left side of the 51 car. There's Terry Labonte, who had just run the fastest lap.
Oh, Buckshot almost made it.
And Presley did sneak through, BP.
Somehow, some way, Schrader, not as lucky. I don't think that Buckshot really hit anything too hard. All right, just watch and listen. All right, let's go on board and we can really hear this noise. Oh, this is slow motion. Wow, how did he get through there?
That was Benson.
And see, he couldn't turn to the right. He had cars to the right, so he just, boy, he threaded that needle.
Yeah, right. All right.
That's back to where the fuel cell is. And look at the back of that car, Larry. What the hell? There is no back. Frank Kimmel, three-time ARCA champion, came here, brought his sponsor, Advance Auto Parts, to Travis Carter to bring the 26 car here. He's okay. He's not happy.
Well, you mentioned he was 30th quickest as he crossed the start-finish line.
Moves down into turn one. He gets out a little bit too wide. See the right rear tires right up in that gray. He just got it in there a little too high.
It was almost exactly what happened to Robbie Gordon, just at the opposite end of the racetrack.
Well, that was a hard lick. He's gone. It's out from under him before he ever even. He's just starting to think about making the turn. The car is already turning around with him before he even gets there. And you can see the fuel cell was shoved all the way into the rear end housing, and no combination of a steel box and a bladder is going to withstand that kind of hit. Now these cars normally will qualify with what we call low fuel. That car probably only has 5 to 7 gallons of fuel in the fuel cell. They do that in order to increase nose weight as well as get the ballast of the car as low as they possibly can. That's why we don't see any bigger fire than we see. There's not that much fuel in the car.
Well, normally when they're full, they hold 22 gallons of fuel, so it's only about a fourth of the fuel capacity.
And that's a balancing act. It's another thing that you do, take it off the rear and put it on the front. We're hearing that Kyle Busch may have scraped the wall during practice. What's the story on the 5?
Looking at the right rear quarter panel of Kyle Busch's Chevrolet, you can see the scrapes. The crew members up in the wheel well working on the right side. Kyle, what happened?
Well, when you're fighting the track, you get some opportunity. You try to do the best you can with it. And I tried to keep the pedal down this time. It didn't quite work out. We needed about 3 more inches. But we'll be all right. We'll both right in and out and start and do an awesome job. And we're just looking forward to the race. We start up front, so hopefully we can get back there and clean up.
Seems like this team gets more confident and more momentum with each week.
Yeah, it definitely does. I wish we started out this way a little bit sooner, but we always take the best steps we can get, and we're looking forward to the rest of the year, of course. We got plenty more things to come out of this little Chevrolet.
With grandstands, bleachers circling this 1 mile oval, what's the deal? Why is it quiet?
Well, you said we went from the Magic Mile to the Monster Mile. Well, the Monster Mile has taken the bite out of a competitor already. In the car right here, Brian Vickers hit the wall. He was running top 10 in time. Very, very good race car coming out of turn number 4. He said the car just jumped sideways and he slammed the front stretch wall. Now, Joe Nemechek just a couple laps earlier had said, hey, I think something's on the racetrack. So right now, NASCAR is looking at that situation in turn number 4, trying to evaluate if there is something on the racetrack at this time. So that's why the track is quiet. Brian Vickers, 7th fastest at the time that he hit the wall with this race car. This race car is absolutely destroyed. Eddie Dickerson, Alfred, and the boys have been going over. You see Jamie, the NASCAR official here, checking things out. What they try to do is they look over the car to see what damage happened and to make sure that this car was A-OK. And you know what? Brian is A-OK, and that's a very good sign. But Brian Vickers already going to the backup car early on in practice here at the Monster Mile.
But Larry, not since Texas Motor Speedway was new have we seen so many drivers have trouble in one weekend, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, like Darrell mentioned, they found this racetrack and it's fast. 13 cars broke the track record. This was in practice. Justin Lonnie got in trouble on a single car run, as well as Tony Stewart, the 33 car, Shane Millen, the 32 car. These were all practice runs. Now, this was in qualifying. Randy LaJoy in the 34 car, he had to go to a backup car, hit the wall hard. Look at this lick right here by Michelle Jourdain in the 10 car. Hard on the outside wall. Denny Hamlin not only crashed in practice, but he crashed in qualifying as well. We had over 9 cars that was torn up in practice and qualifying yesterday in just single car runs.
And we haven't even started to race yet.
And that's Bill Elliott. And how fast did it feel out there?
Well, you know, here it's hard to tell. I mean, this racetrack, it's unlike Atlanta.
And a crash in turn 3. Backing it in is the 0-2.
And that's probably going to send him to the house, Mike, because he's one of the cars you talked about in the beginning, Andy Belmont 0-2 with no provisions.
Now, our trusty pit reporter said that he was the only cab in the first 10 or 15 there that had sticker tires. Most everybody else had buffed their tires. He was on stickers.
Story in USA Today, today's edition, about Andy Belmont, about how much he's made for each of his starts, but also how much it has cost him to run this car. He was basically breaking even until this happened.
And Dale, it looked like the minute he went to turn that thing down into turn 3, the back end just came around with him. He got loose, and we've already documented close to 200 miles per hour at place.
And he knows right about here that he's getting ready to take a really, really hard lick into the outside wall.
Man. You know, Dale, you talked about sticker tires versus scuff tires. I think one of the big reasons I talked to Mark Martin again that the guys were scuffing their tires was the fact that they were seeing a little inconsistent feel from set to set.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard on the, with the 3 sets they got to use, I heard a lot of guys say, I like set 1, I like set 2.
Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Spencer in the Arnold Motorsports number 50 black and yellow car right here.
Whoa!
Gives it a good graze.
Yeah, that was almost.
Whoa, backstretch. Out of turn 2, Matt Kenseth and one other car just outside the right of the picture got tangled up there.
Well, now depending on how badly that car's hurting, it looks like it's wounded pretty good. I don't know, Larry. Maybe he's not so bad. I thought it was kind of whoppy jawed there, but.
And the sad thing about it, and again, I think, a lot of damage to the rear. Remember, Matt Kenseth qualified 3rd, one of his best qualifying efforts all year long.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Had to go to a backup car. There goes that good qualifying effort. See what happens here. It looked like he got poked in the rear the way the back end was all jacked up.
Oh, look at this. He was not even up to speed yet. I believe he was coming out of the pits.
Yeah, he's coming out of the pits. course, yeah, look at that.
Look how close Casey Mears in the 41 came.
Well, who gets it?
The wall.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing no one else was wrapped up in that wreck.
There really is. If you'll notice that the apron of this racetrack has been sealed. It's really, really black, and it's got sealer on it, and it's slick. We saw it last week in the All-Star race qualifying. Guys trying to get on pit road were having a problem. That bottom part of the racetrack there below the white line is all sealed with a real slick sealer, and it's causing those guys some problems, obviously.
Exactly, Mike. And no driver has ever grabbed both poles here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And Kyle Busch, as you can see here, didn't make it any easier on himself. He wrecked his primary car during the final practice session this morning. Well, technically, it wasn't his primary car. The car they wanted to use at Texas, they brought down here, tested a few weeks ago. Well, he wrecked that one. So he's gone to the backup car, as the 18-year-old will attempt to qualify for just his second next go of race today.
Hard leg. I was just going to say the car looked a little loose.
Way more than just a little loose. I'd say way out of control.
This place is. It is breathtaking. You go down that back straightaway, 196, 197
that back end's just like this pocket way.
Roll the car in there to make it.
Damn! For the left.
Over on the right rear.
It goes back and goes right in
Transition to come down in the turn 3. You can see the rear coming around here. Just see the car as it started to make the transition, just laying on the right rear a little bit too much. Just as he turns it to the bottom, right there. He might have entered that turn just a tad too high.
Boom!
It could have been just because the car was loose and he couldn't get it to the bottom. Gordon is out of the car. He is okay. When this track was built, it quickly developed a reputation just as a car racetrack. And the thing about it is, again, we talk about the incredible speeds down these straightaways and the entry. Now, we had trouble here the first year or two with the first turn entry. It was a very unusual entry into turn 1. They worked on that. They made it better. Now you're carrying so much speed into turn 3 that it makes it difficult to make that turn.
Something changed, track changed a little bit, and I got to go to the back anyway, so I just needed a pit stall, and I was going for it, but it seemed like that's completely opposite of what I'm on the racetrack, Joe. Hard, Biffle hard into the wall.
I don't think it's too bad, is it?
That's not too bad, guys. He bounced off of it a little bit. I mean, he killed it, but I don't think he didn't kill it. He just wounded it.
And that was his crew chief, Doug Richard, talking to him. I had a conversation with Doug earlier this year about their qualifying earlier this week, because in the first 7 races, he had 6 top 10 starts, including the button pole for the Daytona 500, but in the last 5 races, only 1 top 10 start. And Darrell, he said an interesting thing. He said, once the weather turned warm, it's like we've not found the combination possibly with air pressure or something. Take a look at the replay.
Yeah, he gets way loose right about
starting to get loose right there. It's a little loose with him.
Yeah, then
he's trying to pull it back down to the bottom. But before he tries to pull it to the bottom, the looser it gets. It's that wobble up off the tube. Doesn't hit the wall all that hard. The right rear gets into it. But it didn't, like I said, I believe they can fix that car.
He's very lucky he didn't come down and slam the inside wall, which is normally what happens.
Wow. And what I learned about as the temperature goes up, as it gets hotter in the summertime, one of the things I learned was you got that big sway bar, that 2-inch sway bar. When the tracks are cool and the tracks are fairly, and the weather's fairly cool, you can run that big bar. But you got to come off of that when it gets hot and slick.
Yeah, they can fix that car easily.
It isn't quite the grip up there, like I said, Alan. I think after the Busch race, hopefully there'll be 2 crews. But right now, that upper
trouble. Off turn 2, Bobby Labonte.
Oh, whoa! What the fuck happened to Bobby?
The 2
happened to Bobby?
And that is, as you said, Wally, he's hit hard with both ends of the race car.
God
That
damn!
comes down, that's a good sign. Good sign. That's Bobby's signal to the safety workers that he's okay and they don't need to take chances in rushing to his assistance.
And Bobby has been struggling. He qualified 31st and was 36th in the morning practice, so
They've been struggling all year.
yeah, they have.
See the Hans device there around Bobby's neck, safety apparatus. But he's looking for some help getting unhooked, it looks like.
Yeah, I think his helmet was still hooked in. The wire to his radio was still hooked to his helmet.
Wow, just broke loose.
Oh, God
Ripped him off the
damn, son.
Oh, that's a lot of smoke for just breaking loose.
Oh, this is hurt.
That's why those cars gas on the gas.
On the gas, trying to get the thing to spin around and miss the wall. Oh, he's limping pretty good.
He hit hard.
Yes, he did.
But he is out of the car and walking away. But we're under the red flag in Winston Cup final practice at Kansas.
Mark Martin has never won the championship, and he's always a contender and rides once a day. During happy hour, Mark Martin blew his right front tire and hit the wall hard, damaging his car. He was able to get out of the car and walk away under his own power. Martin was then taken to the track hospital for medical attention. Upon his return, Ralph Shaheen had a chance to talk with Mark Martin.
He crashed harder than anyone else so far this weekend in Texas. He suffered a slight concussion and torn ligaments in his neck in the crash on Friday, but no broken bones. He's currently in the Dallas hospital. For more on how tough the Texas track is, here's Bill Weber.
There's no argument that Texas is a tough track, but it's also been a tough couple of days. Several crashes, various causes. And while many drivers continue to quietly question the design of the Texas Motor Speedway, it has been a combination of factors that has contributed to a rash of wrecks in the first 2 days here. Whether the track is new, old, good, or bad is up to individual interpretation. But in addition to Jerry Nadeau's shattering crash on Thursday, Friday the Texas track bit Terry Labonte, Kenny Wallace, Billy Standridge, and several Busch cars, including points leader Mike McLaughlin and teammate Matt Hutter.
Just broke loose and went pretty quick where I didn't even have a chance to think about catching it. It went that quick. I really can't answer what happened, other than I lost it.
I was running really quick and then I slowed up. My run was over. And I told my crew chief I was going 50 miles an hour. I told him I was wrecking. Couldn't figure out why. The thing was just wobbling all over the place, and then I figured it out when my tire passed me. I took turn one just like you take Charlotte, run like a wide arc and turn in, and that was the worst mistake I ever made in my life. Once I turned out, that was it. I lost total control of the car. The back end came around, stayed on the throttle, just went for a heck of a ride.
Well, go back to yesterday. Qualifying postponed. Seepage, water coming up out of the track. 15 wrecks in 2 days. And with that kind of a start, everyone is concerned. Take a look at yesterday. Bobby Hillman out of control, turn one, slams the wall. It happened over and over again. To the naked eye, you can't see it, but that water is there, and the 3,400-pound cars bring it up out of the asphalt. And then to compound it, Kevin LePage blew an engine, or rather he blew a rear end, knocked all the oil and grease out of that car, 3 gallons of additional oil. He greased up that turn number one, and that made it even worse. So this morning they had to come back out and attempt to qualify. This was the scene yesterday afternoon when they called off Winston Cup qualifying.
It's just enough moisture that, if the tire hits it, it's gonna break loose. It's like since the sun went down, the track is cooled off, and that is what's making the moisture. I think when it's hot enough, it keeps evaporating it. But just all that rain we had here in Texas.
All I know is it's coming up like a water faucet and it won't stop. It's just seeping. It's just enough that the last couple cars that ran, we noticed kind of a mist coming off their tires. And then NASCAR threw the flag, went down to check it out, and found the problem. There's not a 10-foot guys in the turn.
It's shiny from some grease. We're also seeing the water come through. What caused Lake or anybody else to lose it down there? I don't know. Was it because it's slick from grease? Like I said, it's not running in water. It's not wet with water, but there's water there. It's not running water. Hey, it needs to be said, God, it's running like crazy, but it's not.
Only 9 cars attempted Winston Cup qualifying yesterday. This morning, one of the first cars out, Dick Trickle, into turn number 1. Out of control. Into the wall. Dick told me afterward it was not the track. He said that car was just loose. And when qualifying was over, for the second time in his career, Jeremy Mayfield found himself on the point, and Joe Nemechek will be alongside.
Kenseth has climbed out of his car because moments ago he had a big moment up in turn number 4.
He's going the wrong way now. He was going the wrong way then. Watch this sucker. I mean, I was looking up. I caught him out the corner of my eye. He gets up high. That back end just starts around.
Oh, Mikey, hold on to it!
Beautiful. I mean, he saved that thing. I know all 4 tires. I don't know if he had a tire going down or not. There's a possibility the way the thing just kind of comes around.
Way to go, Matty! Way to go!
Taking hello wall.
Oh, hello! There goes Michael going down there.
Lock her up. There you
Rear
go.
flaps came up, kept it on the ground, gave him some control, and he brings her into pits.
This is how fast it really happened, though, right here. Not many times you'll see a car spin right there and not hit that outside wall.
You know what I always say about that? Wasn't that it happened today?
But down the back stretch. Now this was coming to take the green, I think, Jeff. He had not taken it.
That thing's wicked loose.
Going off into turn 3.
Hold on to it! No!
He tried to
God.
when he did, the car just
Damn!
got away from him. But yeah, he was coming to take the green. As he enters the corner, Larry, watch him. He starts down, all of a sudden he pulls it back up like he was going to cut the corner anyway, and again, away it went up the outside wall, and that's definitely a backup car. But you're right, I'm not sure he actually got all the way down on the edge. I don't think he did. Let's go to Bob Gilder.
Well, Steve, it's the most obvious question in racing after something like this happens, but Tony Raines, we got another crash on the racetrack. And he has shortened up that number 4 car.
And this is in the opposite end of the racetrack. This was coming off from 1 and 2. I was looking dead at him, and you'll see it right here, I think. That's another hard lick going outside wall. He had just taken the green flag down into turn 1 and 2. Tries to pick the throttle up right there.
Oh, and the back end comes right from under him.
He picked the throttle up early here in the middle of the corner.
I was going to ask you, Larry, is that is a symptom of getting on the gas too quick?
Well, it's a symptom of we've heard a lot of these drivers talking about it, having your car pretty free, pretty loose, where you know you've got a good driving car for tomorrow in the race when you untape that front end. And his car started to step out and just as Steve, he tried to correct it, and it looked like almost like the left front did go down on the apron. When it did that, it totally unloaded, took the wedge out of it, and it just really finished it off.